Hey guys, welcome into the Stinkin Truth Podcast. Mark Schlereth alongside my partner, Mike Evans. Thanks so much for making us a part of your day. Continue to subscribe. We're close to, I think, 17,000 subscribers now, trying to get to 25,000 subscribers. And when we do, Mike and I are going to do this show shirtless. And it is going to be tremendous for all of you. You're going to love every second of it. So thank you. Mike, how are you, buddy?
I can't wait. In fact, just as a tease.
Do not.
Just as a tease.
Do not.
Just as some inspiration.
Gosh.
There's a button.
Whoa. That is. Wait a minute. Dude, you are thick on the hair.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
I'm like a 1980s private detective.
You are. You're like Magnum PI, although it's not quite as curly as Magnum's, Not that I paid attention to how curly Magnum's chest hair is.
All right.
How are you, buddy?
We'll put that back up. Well, we got lots to talk about, so riddle me this. The Kansas City Chiefs look like the Kansas City Chiefs again on a night where they don't get called for any penalties.
Oh, that's weird.
Coincidence? I think not.
Coinkydink? No, listen, man. I said this a couple of weeks ago, and then they lost, and I got to celebrate the loss. But I said it a couple of weeks ago. They are starting to figure it out. And I think one of the things that they've done an exceptional job over the years with is understanding what they need to fix or address in the offseason. Veach, their GM, has done a really good job. They rebuilt their offensive line. And I told you, left tackle Josh Simmons coming out of Ohio State, even though he tore his patella tendon, he was the guy on film that I thought was the best tackle I had watched on film. And I think all of a sudden that offensive line is starting to gel. They're still not running the ball very effectively. I mean, Mahomes seems, every week I look, and Mahomes is the guy, every time I look up at the game, watching it, like Mahomes is scrambling around. He seems to always be kind of their quote-unquote leading rusher. But part of that is Andy Reid, Mike. Andy Reid has never wanted to win a game running the football. And I have mentioned that I thought it was football hubris at times before, but he's so good with play design, and Patrick Mahomes is such a unicorn in his ability to do things in the passing game. And here's what really concerns me. All of a sudden, offensively, they're holding up in protection. Like I said, the left side of their offensive line is starting to play well again. You see the progression, and you see the improvement. You see all the things that are the Kansas City Chiefs. And then, Mahomes and his ability to diagnose what you're in, cut you up, throw it from different arm platforms, scramble around, off-schedule stuff, make big plays happen, but still be able to control the game from the pocket so you stay on schedule. All those things are important. Now, all of a sudden, Juju Smith-Schuster, Worthy, all those guys, they're going to get Rashee Rice back eventually.
Hollywood Brown had 2 touchdowns.
Hollywood Brown is playing well. He's healthy now. And now Kelsey, now that you've got all these other guys performing outside the numbers, now you're like, well, do we make the decision to leave Kelsey one-on-one? And you get him matched up with a linebacker. Like, all those things are happening. And if this offense can perform, then you can see the defense do what they did to, even though Jared Goff was incredibly efficient, still held them to 17 points. And that's really what it's all about, right? Holding teams down when it comes to scoring. That's what it's all about.
I know the Chargers are 4-2. The Broncos are 4-2. But for these eyes, it looks like the AFC West once again goes through Kansas City.
It does. Well, that's not all it's all about. It's also about the hokey pokey and turning yourself around. And they've done that.
Yes.
And that's what it's all about.
Well, they might have they'll probably run a play that is the hokey pokey, right? Didn't they do the whole ring around the rosy play?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's coming. It's coming. One of these weeks.
It is coming. But you got to give them, as much as I hate to do it, the one thing I always have tried to do, and it's gotten me a lot of trouble, as you know, I always try to be honest. And even if somebody is a friend, I'm like, yeah, well, it wasn't good enough. And next thing you know, your phone rings and somebody's on the other hand going, hey, mother. And That'll happen occasionally.
Well, okay, and it's funny you bring that up because both the Chargers and Broncos got wins, but they weren't pretty wins. Okay, Chargers barely got past the Dolphins.
Yeah,
Broncos that Great Britain. I'm sorry, England. We're it's bad enough that we blew up your colonies and broke away, but now we're sending that product over to you to watch football. But I heard a lot.
It is. You know what? Every year we send the Jags.
Yeah.
Back in the Jag when the Jags weren't good, we send the Jag. We send like our worst football like product over there, and it's like we walk over to London and the game kicks off, and it's just like, and we just take a big giant dump on the field.
Yeah,
like that game against the Jets. Said like. What is the score? 13 to 11?
Then again, boring, low scoring, unimaginative, less than thrilling football. Isn't that what soccer fans over there watch every single day?
It's a great point.
Should that have been that different than what they watch all the time? They probably thought that Broncos Jets was awesome.
Yeah, they were like offensive explosion, 13 to 11. Oh my gosh!
Right?
Like they're used to 1-0, and they get all giddy about 1-0. They're like, oh my gosh, we were all over it. The pitch.
But here's the thing about the Chargers and the Broncos wins. I on our radio show, we had plenty of people say, hey, look, never apologize for a win. Don't worry about style points. But if the standard is the Chiefs in your division, isn't it more than just simply finding a way to win? How you win has to be factored into the equation. If you're trying to think, okay, we're now capable of beating the Chiefs.
I said this the other day, and I think I got poo-pooed a little bit on our show. Like the job that Vance Joseph is doing right now is like he's going to get legitimate consideration for another head coaching job. And you look at defense coordinator Vance Joseph with the Denver Broncos. I mean, dude, the Jets had negative passing yards when you factor in the 9 sacks that Denver was able to produce. In the end, the very last drive, they ended up getting 2 sacks, one to start the drive, one on 4th down. Like they are just like they were a juggernaut, and it was phenomenal. And part of what you do as a coach, like when you're not producing as an offense, Sean Payton is like, okay, what do we have to do to win this freaking game? And the only thing that's going to cost us this game, based on the way our defense is playing, and I know people don't want to hear this because all we heard was offense stunk, offense with Sean Payton's play calling is awful, Sean Payton this, Sean Payton that. Like, he goes, what do we have to do to win this game? The only thing that can cost us this football game right now, the way our defense is playing, is what? Turnover, pick 6, short field for the Jets. That's it. Because our defense is putting on a clinic. 9 sacks in one game. Do you know that 1991, as a member of the Washington Redskins, as a member of the Hogs, we played 19 games on the way to a world championship? Do you know how many sacks we gave up in 19 games?
Wasn't it like 9 or 8?
9 total sacks. And 3 of them were the last game of the season against the Philadelphia Eagles after we pulled all our starters. And they got 9 sacks against the Jets.
They had as many sacks as Justin Fields had completions. They had 1 more sack than the Jets had first downs. So is the Broncos defense that dominant, or is Justin Fields and the Jets that incompetent?
I think it's probably a little bit of both.
But if you had to side one way or the other.
Well, since I'm going to call the Jets game next weekend, I think the Broncos defense is that dominant.
Juggernaut is
the best defense
I've ever quarterback to do?
Yeah, whatever. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. Yeah, they were absolutely dominant, Mike. There's no question about it.
The Lions losing. Let's get back to the Chiefs game. The Lions losing. I don't know. If I'm a Lions fan, I'm not too bothered by this. It was an AFC opponent, so it doesn't really affect you in a lot of the tiebreakers. And you didn't have most of your secondary.
Yeah.
And you were kind of walking into a bit of a buzzsaw, right? Because you had a Kansas City team that was hungry to get their season going again. So is this much to see, much ado about nothing for the Lions?
Yeah, and for Kansas City, after a Monday night loss where they had a 14-point lead and Jacksonville kind of scrambled back into it, they made some plays their quarterback did with his feet, and then they had the long ball to Brian Thomas down the sideline. The next thing you know, you trip up, and you fall down. Trevor Lawrence he gets back up, falls down again, then he scrambles out, and you got Chris Jones standing there like he's some type of spy, or maybe he was sneaking up on somebody, he's invisible, like whatever, and they score the touchdown and they actually win the game. So you have this disappointing loss, and sometimes those disappointing losses and not playing well can be the catalytic event that kind of kickstarts. You look at it and go, we cost ourselves one there. We cannot play that way again. That's the rallying cry for moving forward. And so there are those games in the NFL where you just walk into a buzzsaw. And I remember a game in 1997.
I love this story.
Broncos versus San Francisco 49ers. We're on the road, and this is the year, Mike, the Broncos won their first ever Super Bowl, 1997. We go to San Francisco to play Old Candlestick Park, right? And it's a December game, and a couple things are happening, right? One, Jerry Rice is making his return from a patella tendon, tear or whatever it was, right? So he's making his return. They're retiring Joe Montana's jersey. Every celebrity in Northern California is at this game. Huey Lewis in the News is singing the national anthem, right? It is fireworks. We come out of the locker room for the pregame introductions, right? And you come out and you can cut, it's smoky, right? Because they had all these fireworks. And, like I said, Huey Lewis just sang the national anthem and people are going crazy. And I step out of the locker room and Oliver Stone is standing there, right? He's just standing there. And, the atmosphere was such that you could cut it with a knife. And I remember looking at one of my teammates, I think it was Harold Hasselbeck. And I looked at him and said, I do believe we're getting our ass kicked tonight. and there was 2 times in my career that I ever thought going into the game, man, we're going to get our ass kicked tonight. That was one of them. It was just woof, this one was going to be rough, because you knew the energy of that crowd and the energy of that football team would never wane. Right. There's occasionally when you can play on adrenaline. Not you can't usually play 4 quarters, but sometimes those outliers happen. And I thought Kansas City kind of played that way last night, even to the point where they have a breakout fight at the end of the game, right?
Right.
The whole thing is that way, and I'm with you. That was one where it just felt like maybe Kansas City had that wake-up call against Jacksonville, and they came out and took care of business.
Stink, the Ravens are
over
5.
It's over.
It's over?
I picked them to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. It is over. Is it not? They had to go from the backup quarterback to the backup quarterback in that particular game. And I don't know when Lamar's coming back. If he comes back, will he be hampered? Mm-hmm. Will he be the same athlete that he was before? Or will that be hey, man, we got to wrap that leg, and we got to make sure that we're not running you as much and less designed runs. And, hey, be careful if you scramble, because that leg could, that hamstring could grab. And then defensively, you've lost a ton of players on the defensive side of the ball. Derrick Henry hasn't been the same, although he had 122 yards yesterday, but still, he still got throttled by the Rams. What was it, 17-3 or whatever? You put up 3 points as an offense. They're 1-5. I don't know that. I don't think you can come back from 1-5.
Really? Because I would think that as long as you, to me, the magic number is 8, right? I mean, you get to 8 losses. Now you're talking 9-8. I just don't know how you recover from that. But, okay, you're 1-5, but if you get Lamar back, you get guys back, you don't think that this team is capable of going 9-2 the rest of the way? By the way, the AFC North is no great shakes. So you get to 10-7, even if you're not winning the division, you get in as a wild card. Man, at that point, you're the team nobody wants to see. So
10-7. So you've got a 2-game leeway.
Basically, you can
I don't
lose
know
2 more the rest of the way.
I think Lamar's going to be out another week, and then you've got a bye week, right? So then you can get healed up on that. But you got to put a couple guys on IR. You're not ever going to get those guys back. It is just.
So you say it's over?
Well, maybe I was a little premature. Maybe that's my.
You're
chicken little.
You're a hot take.
I do have a little. I do have a little chicken little in me.
Hot take in you.
I get nervous. Dude, they are playing poorly. You're right about the division. I reserve judgment. It's over right now. It's over right now.
But unless new information comes in.
Unless new information comes forth, it is. But it does feel over, doesn't it?
It does, but here's their schedule coming up. Okay, you've got, you got the Bears, you got the Dolphins, you got the Vikings, you got the Browns, you got the Jets, you got the Bengals, you got the Steelers, you got the Bengals, you got the Patriots, the Packers, and then the Steelers. I mean, it's not a murderer's row. If you can get Lamar back in some of these.
Steelers twice. You got the Packers.
Yep.
Right.
Patriots are a better team.
Yeah. Can it be done? Yes, it can be done.
Mm-hmm.
But man, you're gonna have to tighten up the screws.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I just don't know. Who's the next game?
Bears.
Yeah, this is you put yourself behind the eight ball like they put themselves behind. It is an arduous task climbing out of that thing. So if I was a gambling man, Mike, I'd say it's over.
Actually, I think they have their bye this week.
Bye this week?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. So,
all right. So if I was a gambling man, if I had to put a amount of money that mattered to me, so $1 on are they going to make it or are they not going to make it? I'd say they're not going to make it.
Is Tampa Bay okay? 2-part question. Is Tampa Bay not only the team to beat in the NFC? Is Baker Mayfield your overwhelming MVP favorite right now?
Baker Mayfield is overwhelmingly the MVP favorite, and I don't think there's anybody else that not only has his resume, but just has his freaking just grit, leadership. The dude just is. I've said it before. I'll say it again. He's all balls. That dude is this is unbelievable. I mean, that's kind of you ever see the guy, the cowboy that always has a can of Copenhagen in his back pocket and just wears the circle. That's his balls right now. His balls are just wearing they're wearing the jeans thin in the front of his pants because they are just giant. Everywhere he goes, it looks like he's smuggling a yo-yo.
Uh-huh.
That thing is just in there, just being oh my God, just stressing out the fabric.
Well, to me, I've always looked at the best quarterbacks. The best quarterbacks are those that just simply make everybody around them better, okay? Mm-hmm. And they're not dependent on having overwhelming talent around them. Look at what they did yesterday against a banged up but still pretty good San Francisco team. You don't have Bucky Irving.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have me. Mike Evans.
Yeah.
Chris Godwin is hurt again.
Right.
And even their stud young receiver, Emeka
Ibuka, yeah.
Gronk, he goes out. And they're getting it done with, Rashad White, Sean Tucker, Cameron Johnson, Sterling Shepard, Tez Johnson.
Tez Johnson caught the big one over the
and then
top.
did the flip.
Yeah.
But that's what the great.
Yep.
I mean, you want to talk about what defines an elite quarterback is when you start watching these guys as quarterbacks and it doesn't matter who's out there with them. They keep making everybody better.
Yeah.
And that right now is Baker Mayfield, and give him his credit. He's been awesome.
Think about the transformation. Baker Mayfield came in the league and was a guy that was going to get coaches fired. And now he's transformed, not necessarily his fault, but I'm just talking about the narrative. I'm not talking about anything other than that. But now every guy who works with Baker Mayfield as an offensive coordinator gets a head coaching job. Canales is the head coach 1 year with Baker, head coach in Carolina. You got Liam Cohen 1 year with Baker, head coach in Jacksonville. The guy who's there now, what's his name? Gristle. Like
He'll be.
Yeah, they're putting in a chicken grizzle, I think is his name. Now all of a sudden they're going to go.
Right.
It's just it's amazing. It's amazing what he has done to this point. And to your point, Mike, you lose all your weapons. How many quarterbacks have we seen not be able to produce if they don't have great talent and great players around them? A ton of them. The great quarterbacks take good talent and make it great. They take great talent and make it exceptional. Baker Mayfield right now, yesterday, is taking third receivers, fourth receivers, fifth receivers, and making them the 1, 2, and 3 guys.
Yep. Josh Grizzard.
The Grizzler. But that's what we call him, the Grizzler.
By the way, San Francisco, have you, in recent memory, seen a team more unlucky? I mean, there's just no other way to put it, right? I mean, I can't imagine that their training techniques or whatever, the way they stretch before a game, I don't know. I've never seen a team so unlucky, not only with injuries, but just injuries to key, crucial guys.
Yeah.
Now Fred Warner's out.
Yeah, broke and dislocated his ankle.
Yeah, the moment they put that air cast on.
You just know it's over. Man, I honestly don't know. I know this, though, like Sean Payton here in Denver always talks about it. They went from being the most injured team in football under Hackett to the least injured football team in football under Sean Payton.
Do you believe there's a method to that, or is it just? I don't know. I'm skeptical. I think that's just kind of.
You think guys are so sick of playing for Hackett they're just pulling up like, oh no, it's serious, it's bad, It doesn't even look bruised. No, it's
I'm
bad.
gonna need an injury settlement and be made a free agent immediately.
Yeah, immediately.
No, I don't know. I think that stuff it's random. It's law of averages. It's just unlucky. I don't know if.
But the law of averages,
NFL
the law of averages for it's like turnovers. Like you see teams like turnovers come in bunches. You see teams that just go crazy one year and then don't get any the next year,
right.
Or don't get any one year and go crazy the next year.
Right.
So like the law of averages with injuries would say, okay, this should be their healthy year. Every year they seem to be the most injured team in football.
So you're telling me then that, all right, we're using these two coaches and these two teams as an example. You're telling me that Sean Payton and the Broncos are just doing it exponentially better than Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers are when it comes to avoiding injury.
I don't know. It doesn't.
Come on, you played forever. You telling me it's
some of it is just random, obviously. You know what I used to do? You're going to love this.
I probably will.
So
I love your stories.
Yeah.
Gather around, everybody. Story time with Sting.
Yeah, I used to do this all the time. So, I always had my son Daniel play up a couple, a year or 2 years, right? So he's always He's 7 years old playing with 9-year-olds, but he could always just throw. He could always just throw really hard. And so as he gets going like 13, 14, and he's just freaking dialed in, like freshman year or sophomore year, just throwing, like mid-90s, just like crazy stuff. And dads would always ask me, like, man, what do you do to get him to throw so hard? And I would always make some bullshit up about every night I rub buttermilk on his left arm. And I would go into these detailed stories. They were absolute bullshit.
You're such a... I swear to God, I've never met anybody. I mean this sincerely.
Guys are like, okay, buttermilk on this. Yes, and then I have him eat 2 pads of butter. And just some stupid.
I've never met anybody who takes such joy and spends so much time just devising a gag. I mean, your whole life is just, how can I just have fun with people?
Right.
How can I just jerk around and have fun with the people I'm around?
Yeah.
You're constantly just thinking of new ways to do it. I got to give you credit.
Yeah.
Anybody else in that situation would be, I don't know, but you're like, no, let's take this opportunity to really screw with some people. I'm going to tell him I rub buttermilk on his arm.
Most of the time I would tell him after I carried on for 20 minutes about all the stuff I do. I'm just busting your balls. Like, you can either throw hard, you can't. It's every now and again I just kind of let it go, and just the guys I didn't like. Yeah. So they would rub buttermilk on their kids' arms.
You're amazing. Speaking of injuries, I thought it was what did you make of the whole Brian Dable, Jackson Dart?
Yeah.
Get him back out there, and
how bad does Brian Dable not want to play Russell Wilson? Like, how bad does Brian Dable, how much can he not stand that dude? He was like in the tent, poking his head in there. What's going on in here? You can't make me play that other guy. I cannot put that guy on the field. He'll cost us this game. Brian Dable, certainly there's going to be some fines that come down, right?
The Giants have to come out and issue a statement that, we do not condone, and that's not the way we do things, and da-da-da-da-da.
Is there 2 guys that have energized the fan base more than Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo?
I don't think so.
And it just goes to show you, man, the importance of having the right guys. Right? We can talk all you want about guys that will say hey, stand at the podium and hey, we're really close and rah-rah this and, and come up with some stupid catchphrase, let's ride, and, and do all that stuff. But there's something about the authenticity of guys that resonates. Remember, man, they lost their number. Malik Neighbors tore his ACL. He's out, and they could have easily won all 3 games that those guys have started. Is it more than 3 games? They beat the Chargers in his first start. I think they lost to New Orleans. Then they beat Philadelphia on Thursday night. They score 30-some-odd points. They put it on them. Cam Scatterbo, every game, is just running. Now, I don't know how long he's going to last.
Right.
I don't know how long, but, man, he is running people over. He's like John Riggins in that 44 jersey, just running people over and just, dispensing justice. It's awesome to watch. And those guys in New York have breathed life into a fan base that didn't have it. And this is why I said from day one that Brian Dable needed to start at Jackson Dart, because if you're going to save your job, the way you save your job is to have a young quarterback, learn, progress, and give you future hope. And that's what he's got going on right now. And now all of a sudden, Dable has gone from a guy who doesn't know what he's doing to a guy who's just saved his job. And it's because those 2 guys have energized not only the franchise, but the entirety of the fan base.
Yep.
And good for them.
Hope. The one thing that a lot of years of doing this, the one thing that is most important to fans, that you can't take away from fans, they need it. It's like oxygen. Hope. Once a fan or a fan base just looks around and just feels like there's no hope, it just sucks. Just sucks as a sports fan not to have any hope. And if you're a Giant fan right now, you're looking at those 2 guys, you're seeing the energy, and you're like, hey, we got some hope now.
And you listen, I know that you can't poke your head in there in the blue tent and all that stuff, and you can't air out the doctor. Like, all that stuff is bad. But you kind of like Brian Dable for doing it, don't you?
Well, it's old school, because I got to believe you have 1,000 stories about how it used to be when there wasn't the oversight, and the person upstairs who could call down and say, hey, get that player off the field. It looks like he's a little wobbly. I mean, the kind of I can only imagine how many conversations there were where coaches would go up to trainers or doctors and go, get him back out there.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I know Brian Dable pretty well, and I know he'll air your ass out in a heartbeat because that's the way he is wired. And it just looks like, man, they found the right. Yeah. They just found the right guys. So good for the New York Giants. And hey, listen, regardless of what's going on there, they're a fun team to watch. Right now, they're a fun team to watch with Jackson Dart and scrambling around and making plays and Scattaboo running people over, and they've got a legitimate defense, man. All of a sudden, they're not that easy out that everybody thought they were going to be.
Well, they get the Broncos and Giants this week. We're interested to see that one.
That's actually going to be a really good game, man.
Out here.
That is going to be a great game. Hey, listen, for everybody involved in the Stinkin Truth podcast, for Mike, I am Mark. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Continue to subscribe. Continue to listen. We appreciate you guys, and we'll be back with you guys later on in the week.